Good afternoon. Today we're going to be making a replacement ramrod for the Kentucky pistol whose ramrod I happened to break. Alright, so the last time I shot my Kentucky pistol, I accidentally got the ball stuck about halfway down the barrel, and by applying too much pressure, I actually snapped my ramrod. So, this is the pistol. Now, first rule, always assume the weapon is loaded. I have no cap on the nipple. Ooh. And it's not loaded. So what happened is when making my paper cartridges, I forgot there was a wad in a couple of them, and I didn't check. It was either the 5th or 6th round that I loaded and had a wad. So when I was applying pressure, it made the seal too tight to where the ball didn't want to sit against the powder. So I tried to, as I said in the video, beat it into place, and it resulted in my ramrod almost snapping completely. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a 5/16 dowel, we're going to knock out the brass here, then we're going to fit it to the new dowel. And that will be my ramrod replacement. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to take that pin that I marked in black, because if I'm going to flip it over, you can't see it quite in the light glare. So, take a punch, small hammer. Now I flip it over. So I'm going to work it a little bit more. Then I'm going to grab a pair of pliers or dikes, and then just going to pull it out. Okay. Pause. As you see, I got it quite bit out. Dikes. See if I can pull it the rest of the way. Alright. Now I'm going to twist that off. Sorry about that, my brother called, but the best part is a ramrod has 2 ends. So here's the second end. We're going to do the same thing. Whoop. There we go. Now take our dikes. I didn't punch it out far enough. So let's tap it again. That's really in there. Okay, cool. Oh, if that was a pain coming out, I can only imagine it'd be a pain going back in. Yeah, so now we're going to take off this end. Alright, I'm going to bring you up, and we're going to see how much of this is wood and how much of it was brass. Alright, so that's our ramrod, our 2 brass fittings, and our 2 pins. So what we're going to do is, we're going to cut this 5/16 dowel to the length of this ramrod. We're either going to sand or whittle the ends. Where's the camera? There we go. That way we can fit the brass fittings back on it. We're going to take our drill, a drill bit, punch a hole through it, and then feed our pins back through. Alright, so let's get started on that. We're only going to do a little bit at a time. We don't accidentally take too much off. And we're only going to roughly whittle it to shape. We're going to use sandpaper and then just spin the rest of it in. Well, twist. Let's be honest. We're going to hold the paper on the end and twist it until it's about the right length. No, length involves how long it is. Width. About the right width. That sounds about right. Alright, so once you're done running it this way, run it back, and it should stop at your score mark. Like that. That way it doesn't have a weird rounded base. And it doesn't set the brass fitting up higher than it actually is. Now just take your knife, roll it again, and that should pop off, like that. Ta-da! Alright, now that we have it mostly to form, let's check our fit. It's still a bit too much, but instead of whittling and taking a lot off, we're just going to take some sandpaper, about 180 grit, and just, this is all we're going to do until we can get it to about the right size. And also make it smoother, it would also make it fit better. And it will also take a while, so I'm not going to keep you here the entire time. But I am going to constantly check it every now and again. So here's after a good while of sanding it down. Okay, that looks pretty straight. So let's take our pencil, mark where these holes are. And that's when we put it back on, we know where to, well, guide our drill bit. Now let's do the same thing, but to the other side. Alright, so now that we have our brass fittings in place, we're going to take a drill and a 5/64 bit. We're going to place something underneath him. And now we're going to try not to miss. Cool. Do the same thing to the other side. And now let's find our pins, because we don't want to lose those. All right. And now we're going to take a hammer, put our pins into place. try to put our pins into place. Okay, I'm going to get a pair of needle nose pliers, and we're just going to try to tap that back into place. Okay, needle nose pliers, our pin, all of this seems so much simpler in my head. Let's see. Well, I'm definitely in. See if I can get it to go all the way through. Nope, I'm just bending the hell out of it. So, new plan. So quick question. How many of you have heard the phrase, necessity breeds creativity? Because I just used my bench vise to press. Okay, this one I'm going to have to file down, sand, and make it look better. And then I'm going to do the same thing to this end. But yeah, I more or less just press those pins in using a vise. Okay, so now we're going to take our 220 and just try to pretty this up a little bit more. And that looked like it worked. Alright, now let's do it to this side. Let's make that thinner. Yeah, that about worked. Alright, let's check it with the pistol. Oh. Okay, it's in. Can we get it out? Alright, cool. Okay, so here's our new ramrod. But now we're going to make a metal one. And we're going to do that out of 5/16 mild steel solid bar. And the whole point of this is I'll be able to apply more pressure without snapping my ramrod. So this is completely reckless and very dangerous. So for some reason, should my ball get stuck halfway down the barrel, I can still seat it and fire the weapon, although with a far bit more recoil. So anyhow, a metal ramrod will keep it from breaking. It will allow me to apply more force, which should make the loading easier. So let's get into that. Alright, so we're going to take our ramrod, butt up against our piece of solid bar, but we're not going to cut it at exact length. We want about 1/8 more. And I will show you why momentarily. Well, in a bit. Well, I don't know why I keep saying momentarily. That's the correct way to use that word. And we'll mark the back end. Okay. So, fun little history fact real quick involving metal ramrods. Fredrick the Great, or Fredrick II of Prussia, what is now Germany, had all of his military muskets replaced their ramrods with iron ones, just for the same reason I'm doing it now. Because a lot of the soldiers' ramrods would snap, and if it snaps in the middle of battle, that's kind of a bad thing. So this allowed them to apply more force to force the ball against the powder without the, well, ramrod snapping. So this was actually, when was Fredrick II around? I want to say like early 1800s. I don't know, I'll throw it up in the notes. Before we cut our mild steel to length, we need eyewear, hearing protection, and leather gloves. Because we'll be using an angle grinder, it will be shooting sparks. So, safety first, which, like I said, I am trying really hard on that one. So, and because I do plan to use this again, let's deburr it so I don't accidentally cut myself. Now let's deburr the piece we're actually working with. Okay, so now that we have it cut and deburred, we're going to take our file and we're going to try our best to make this end as round as possible, just so it fits in the, well, actually it doesn't really need the fit into the ramrod holder. You know, we're going to round it off anyway, just so it looks nice. So we're going to go up, shoot this way, and like that. So it's going to look like this. As you can see, it's already rounding, which is kind of what we wanted to do. You don't have to. I'm doing it just... Let's not talk while we're filing, Kyle. So, you don't have to do this. I'm going to just so it looks more aesthetically pleasing. Alright, so once this is rounded to what I like, I will bring you back. Okay, so we're going to take our punch, place it in center. Oh, flip it over. Probably should have said that. Flip it over. Find your center, take a punch. Because now what we're going to do is, we're going to take the same drill, we're going to use a 1/4 drill bit, and we're going to open this up a little bit. So, drill. Almost forgot. We need a little bit of oil, just so we don't overheat our bit. And this will help it cut cleaner too. You know, I'm in play pants, I don't care. But I will think about an oil rag next time, so. There it is. You see, I used the 1/4 bit and barely opened it up, and the whole point of that is to hold the 50 caliber ball and properly set it against the powder charge. It also fits within the ramrod holder. The motivation behind this project was I was at my local gun dealer store and he was selling a muzzle loader, and he told the buyer that he needs to buy a fiberglass rod to eventually replace the wooden one, but he didn't explain how to take the brass off and fit it to the fiberglass one. That was my motivation behind doing this project, to show you how to do that and how to make a metal one. Yeah, that's about it. Alright, so thank you. I hope you enjoyed this project. Until next time.